Okay, we are live. Yeah. Quickly, let me try to what do you call it? Connect my LinkedIn so that I could get questions because I just noticed my LinkedIn is out. Quickly.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, we're good.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, everybody, from wherever you're joining us from. Thank you very much, and welcome to another episode of An Hour with the Manager Live podcast with Ubo Nwatu, your host today. And I have a very distinguished guest here who is all looking very African. Yeah, she's putting on the African attire, and that's like the first center of what they call it, attention for today. So, yeah, today we have Carolyn Gathuru in the midst. Thank you very much. Good to have you, Carol. Welcome.
It's lovely to be here. I am excited to be here. I am looking forward to this conversation and to just delving into this subject that's very dear to us as a continent and dear to our hearts as a people. Matthew?
Thank you very much. Yeah, like you said, that you're looking forward to the conversation already. It's very, very obvious. Anybody who's seen this would definitely know that you are fully prepared for today. So thank you for honoring us on this show. Yeah, welcome everybody who's joining us from wherever you're joining us from, either on Twitter, on LinkedIn, or on YouTube. If you're here alone, I'm going to say that's not the way to move forward for today. So if you're here, please share the link, copy the link, paste it on your WhatsApp status, copy the link, paste it wherever you engage with your friend, with your network, with your boss, with anybody you can think of who's a business person, both small and big enterprise. Let's understand how we can handle customer complaints, right? Because it's not an easy to do thing. We have AI doing the most here. We all need to communicate together. Let's collaborate together. Let's see how we can drive this conversation and make the best out of it. And if you have any question, please do also send it to the comments box. If you're not very comfortable maybe showing up your name, you can as well send it to my DM. Trust me, I'm going to distract myself every once in a while to just check and be sure that, if my comments box is choked up with messages, and I'll also read it out here for our guests to respond to us. And yeah, she's fully prepared to share very valuable information. So please welcome everybody, and it's good to have you all on this very episode of An Hour with the Manager Live podcast. Okay, so for us to move in straight into the order of the day, first, I would like us to know. Let's get to know our guest. I know so many people are asking, why is she all dressed in like this? I know Ubo has been having other guests, but we've not had much persons who are looking all flashy and looking all very nice and looking all very African-like. So please, Caroline, tell us more about you, what you've been doing for the past 25 amazing years. Please talk to all of us. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. For the past 25 years, I have just been immersed in looking after organizational culture, ensuring that organizational culture is customer centric. We are focusing on the customer, the internal customer, that's ourselves working for all of these places and spaces, and then the external customer whom we are serving. And so to be able to put in place strategy for that, to be able to put in place business plans for that, to be able to put in place blueprints, frameworks, roadworks, whatever you want to call them for that. And then just to have the customer at the center of it all. And to have this conversation in the right place, because we find that in boardrooms, in governance, in leadership circles, customer experience doesn't quite sit there. We talk about finance, we talk about risk, we talk about organizational development, we talk about human capital, but we hardly ever put the customer in their rightful place. So it's been a mission of mine to put that out there and to ensure that it takes its center place. Been doing this in corporates, been doing this as a consultant, been doing this for public sector, private sector, and now happy to be doing this on a regional scale in the continent and globally as well. So that's what I've been doing. We can talk more about it as we go along, but customer experience excellence is in my heart. Strategy is in my heart. People development is in my heart. My heart is full. Matthew, you can see my heart is full of many things. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for sharing that. But before you went into the corporate space and doing all the amazing things you've been doing for the past 25 years, what have been keeping you going to realize that customer experience is actually my journey, or people focus is actually why I need to go into? Because being a customer experience professional is actually not an easy game, right? Because you have to interact with people. You have to connect with people. But what led you to say that customer experience is actually my own path and what I need to do moving forward?
Right. I fell into it, Matthew, you won't believe. I just fell into it. My love for people, my love for order, my love for getting things working and putting smiles on people's faces. And so the first job that I actually did, you know how after the university you look for anything to do to keep busy? So the first job I did was at a reception. And so I was at the reception, and so I would smile, and people would come, and I would talk to them. And it was an ICT institution, and so I would speak to them about the programs and counsel them on what they could do or couldn't do. And then shortly, what was happening is that more people were coming back as a result of me talking to them than the actual salespeople and career counselors. And so they'll say, oh, we've come back because Carolyn has talked to us. We've come back because she made so much sense. We've come back because she's very warm. So the manager said, oh, all right, here's your desk now, Carolyn. Take your space, get out of the reception, sit here and talk to people, welcome them, speak to them, solve their problems. And just like that, Matthew, I fell into this profession and I have never looked back. It's been amazing. I think it's a natural thing. I love it. I'm always talking to customers everywhere I go. And so that's how I fell into it, and then now grew into the profession and established myself in it. So that's my story. Yeah.
Before you had this vibe, this what do you call it, this energy, right, of saying, oh, this is the final decision I need to take. I'm definitely going to stick to this profession. Did you find any sort of challenges, maybe trying to make that bold step? Yeah. People always reflect to you what you should be looking out for, right? But at the end of the day, the decision is best known to you. You have the final say, right? But what were those challenges that you faced personally that before you finally made the decision saying, oh, customer experience is where I want to go into, and then that's where I want to settle in for as long as possible?
Yeah. I think the biggest challenge then and still now is that this profession isn't very well set. If you look at other professions, like say you're a finance professional, the journey is set, the career path is set, the programs are set, the titles are set, how you grow in industry is set, the regulatory bodies are in place, and so on and so forth. It has taken a long time locally, regionally, and even globally for this profession as a customer experience professional to really be set and have a proper path. So people are wondering, what is this you are doing? What is this career path? What do you want to do again? You just want to smile. People thought it is smiling ladies with this headset on, and that has been the typical narrative around customer experience excellence. And we have had to work very hard to change that. And we've had to work very hard to inform, educate, update, and have people understand that this is an actual profession. We also find that in the academic circle, we don't quite have academic programs. We have professional programs, very many of them, but we hardly have academic programs like degrees and master's degrees and PhDs on this career path, on this career line. It's there for strategy. It's there for human capital development. It's there for finance. It's there for all sorts of professional programs, but not for customer experience excellence. So it's a battle we are still battling even now to put it in its rightful place and for everybody to understand, whether it's government, whether it's non-government, profit or not profit, a small to medium enterprise, a trader, whoever you are, blue chip, that really truly, if you don't focus on the customer, if you don't have human resources to deal with that and to ensure that it's working well in the organizational framework, then we are going nowhere. So it's a continuous battle to grease our elbows. You should see my elbows, Matthew. I need to put some milking cow jelly on them so that I can continue to elbow my way. So that has been the issue. It's much better now, but it
Yeah.
still is an issue. Yes, yes.
I think even when it's what do you call it, it's a very challenging space. The reward the reward is still have it's really clear, and it's showing from your own what do you call it, from your expression. Thank you
Right.
for also sharing that with us. At least if I had to start my journey in customer experience, I think this would be my quick bits. I have to just
Yeah.
make my way to navigate around it. But moving into the discussion of handling customers, I know it's something you've experienced, you've seen it over time. But I'm very much sure that not everybody really understands how to handle customers, right? Not everybody actually understands it. Yeah, everybody think maybe it's just to pick up a phone and say, "Hi, what are you selling? I'm selling what do you call it? I'm selling pen. How much is a pen? And if you're not, are you buying or you're not buying? Let me leave the phone, and but it's beyond just are you doing this or you're not doing this and I'm off, right? It's beyond just bringing in attitude, bringing your own personal self. But
Mhm.
what do you think we should understand about the topic, customer or handling your customers?
Right. I think the biggest thing we need to focus on is what customer service is and what customer experience is. And we're still not there yet because customer service is us serving the customer. It's us sorting their issues. It's us listening to them. It's us handling inquiries. It's us solving issues. It's us producing products and taking products to market. And these products then respond to what the customers need. And so customer service belongs to us as the organization, as the trader, as the shop, the vendor, whoever is trading, whoever is providing a product or a service, customer service belongs to me and I should give great service. And then customer experience actually belongs to the customer. It has nothing to do with you and I. So it is how the customer is experiencing us before, during, after their interaction with us having anticipated what they need, met it, exceeded it, we pray. And so, therefore, the experience, it's only the customer who can say, this is my experience. This is how I feel. This is how I felt. And this is what I am taking away with me from my interaction with this organization, with this person, with this touch point, whatever it is. And so we need to distinguish that we are in charge of customer service. The service we give is dependent on how we design it. So we need to design the service well. And if the service is working brilliantly, the customer's experience will be fantastic. They will keep coming back, they will keep consuming, they will keep partaking, they will keep being patrons of the organization, they will tell others. And so, if we could get that distinction going for every single business, every single interaction, then everyone will strive to give great service to deliver exceptional experiences. So, we just need to start from the basics like that, Matt.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Quick one, please, to everybody who is watching this. Like I said, if you're joining this alone, please, I want to see you, what do you call it? Share the link across to your friends. I am very, very concerned about that. Share with your boss, if possible, to call him, hey, even if I'm your boss, Matthew, you have to tune into an hour with the manager today. Please share the
Yes.
link across. Let's share. Let's learn together. And choke my DM, please. I need more questions. I'm seeing some, but I need more questions as much as you can throw in. Please bring it on, and let's continue to push on for this. Okay, so back to your explanation on how to handle customers. You just made mention of a distinction between customer service and customer experience, right?
Mhm.
So why do you really think that is like a big factor to brands, like understanding that if you can balance those two, then you always have a very good service, customer service.
The importance here is if there's no customer, there's absolutely no business. Actually, COVID showed us that, Matthew. There's businesses, there's organizations, there's institutions that died and they have never resurrected post-COVID because there was no customer. It just shut down. So if there's no customer, there's actually no business, no organization, no institution, nothing. And so therefore we must focus on the customer. The customer, as I said, is the most important person in the institution, in the business, on the premise, whether the premise is online, whether the premise is physical, whatever kind of interaction it is. And so if we put customers in the center of what we are doing, and we map the customer's entire journey, this is how they hear about us before. This is how we interact with them during. This is post the purchase, post the service. This is what we are doing after. And the customer is at the center, and we're asking ourselves, what's the customer's experience here? Is it ideal? Is this great? Have we listened to their voices? Are they enjoying this or not? Do they have feedback? Do we need to fix something here? If we can do that for every single step in that customer journey, every single stop, then business would work very well. Customers would keep coming back. They would give us feedback. We'd improve where we need to improve. We'll sustain the great that we are doing, because we also need to sustain the great things that we are doing. And everybody would be happy. The business would be thriving. The bottom line would be happening. The customers would be happy. It'll be just one happy world, Matthew. Just one
And
happy
everybody will
world.
be
So
cashing checks.
oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely, yeah. So we need to focus
Yeah.
on customers. Yeah, yeah,
Okay. It's one thing to say let's focus on customers, and it's one thing to just accept anything a customer brings to you, right? Because yes, we're
yeah.
building the business because if there's no customer, there's no business, and vice versa. But do you think there's a special place where organizations also play an important role, or customers just need to make demands, and organizations just always need to bend to their demands at every point in time?
Right. There's a myth. I call it a myth or a fallacy that has been there over time that says the customer is always right. It's not. It's not true. And sometimes
Why?
organizations hang on to that, much to the detriment and disenfranchisement of the internal customers, the staff. Because if I take on that attitude, and if I take on that as a tenet, that the customer is always right, it means therefore that I will be bending to anything and everything the customer is saying. And sometimes they are not right. Sometimes customers are mistaken. Sometimes they don't have good intentions. Sometimes they want to shortcut the process. Sometimes they're not your real customer. You might need to hand them over to somebody else gently. And so if we understand that the customer is not always right, but in the space of whatever it is that they would like from you, you have to handle them with courtesy, with dignity, and with respect. Even if they are not right, it will be win-win for everybody. So we are not compromising this. We call it CDR: courtesy, dignity, and respect. We will never compromise that. So even if a customer is not right, they come and they say, I bought this product and you told me it was going to work like this and it is not working like this. And for sure, the product is not designed for that. This customer just wants a refund, or they have used the product and they want to return it. If you're handling them with courtesy, dignity, and respect, it means you will explain well. It means you will not be defensive. It means there'll be no argument about who's right or wrong, because it doesn't really matter. You know that even if this customer is not right, I must handle them with absolute courtesy, dignity, and respect. And what that does also is that it edifies the internal customer. It edifies the employee who's working for you. It edifies the team when you say that the customer is not always right. It causes them not to have their hackles up or to get into fighting mode, because they know sometimes customers are not right. Let us figure out how to handle this customer with dignity, even in the space of this conflict or in the space of this communication gone wrong. And I will handle this person properly and let it be. So let it be. And so, yes, the customer is not always right, but we will not compromise on the service we are giving. Matthew, you're smiling.
I actually like I like the clause you put in there, that the customers are not always right, but you don't have to compromise on the services you offer. Meaning that even when the customers are not always right, you still have to deliver the best to the customers to get the best value. Not that you should actually treat your customers bad, right? In as much as you're in business, you're there to serve the customer. There's always a point for dialogue whereby you can always tell the customer, oh, no, this what you actually want won't be good for you, or it's not what we can offer you at this time. But we can
Yes.
do this to make you still feel the best value from the brand, right?
Yes. Right. And also, Matthew, we can divorce certain customers. we can say bye-bye, be gone. Because there are some customers that come to abuse your staff or to attack your staff or to cause your staff to feel in a manner that's not decent and that is, antagonizing them from a human rights perspective. We will still not compromise on courtesy, dignity, and respect, but we will gently show that customer out and say, we wish not to partner with you. These are our values. This is how we uphold things in the space that we are. Our staff are very important to us. This is the code of conduct around here. So if you're not adhering to it, we will kindly request for you to find services elsewhere. Full stop. And let go. Because sometimes customers can be hellish. And that's the truth, nothing but the truth and the absolute truth, Matthew. I'm sure you've come in touch with such customers.
Of course, of course. Well, I was
Yeah.
about asking, maybe if you have some what do you call it, some examples of what you've experienced so far, maybe one of those moments that keeps you thinking about it and like, no, I can never go back to this situation again, or I can't do business with this very customer again. I don't know if it's only because of you. I'll prefer not to be in business and make sure I don't sell to you.
Yeah, they're there. I was on a project with a microfinance lending institution.
Okay.
And one of these customers was what we call PEP, politically exposed person.
Okay.
And so they've taken a loan, they've taken a credit facility. They don't want to pay. They don't want to pay it back. And when the staff is following up for payments and the loan is now in arrears, this person starts to verbally abuse them. And they're doing their job, they're trying to be polite, and it has reached a point where we need to repossess the asset. And so this politically exposed person shows up in the office, and they've come with some sort of bodyguard type person. And now they want to intimidate the staff and lord over them and shout at them. And in the project that I was in, I was leading the team. And I said, no, please come with me. And so we go into the boardroom and we have a conversation. And Matthew, human beings, the way we are wired in a manner that we mirror each other. For sure, Matthew, if you will also whisper to me without me telling you, Matthew, whisper. We really mirror each other. We do automatically. If I smile, you will smile, and so on. And so with utmost confidence and calm, I tell this gentleman, in this institution, we don't shout at one another. We speak in very calm voices because we believe that we have the wisdom and the emotional intelligence to be able to speak like this. Don't you think so? Don't you think wisdom and emotional intelligence dictates that one speaks in a calm voice? Don't you think? And the man said yes. He actually said yes. And after he said yes, he had no choice but to speak in a manner that is deemed full of wisdom. And so we brought the conversation down to a space where we could speak to one another, sense, and could tell him that where we have reached, we cannot proceed with you. We either repossess the asset or you pay our money. Let's talk. And so we spoke when he saw that there is no other way. These people are not moving, they're not budging, they're polite, they are courteous, they're speaking in a great manner, they're not antagonizing him, we're not abusing him, nothing. Because if you push your head against the wall and the wall is not moving, you will stop pushing yourself against the wall. So he was trying to push and the wall was not moving. And so he stopped that when he saw that we were not going to be intimidated by his threats of leaving and going to malign our name and everything else that he had threatened he was going to do. So it is possible to tell your customer, we are not going to do business with you. Thank you so much. Yeah, very possible, Matt.
Okay, I'll put that into consideration. But maybe for those who are listening, might be saying it sounds very simple to do, it sounds very simple to implement. But how do you get to groom your employees or your team, your customer support team, right, to be able to handle such customers whenever you in person you're not there, whereby you have to delegate the job or the task to the support team to handle that, because I'm sure you won't have to be always at every point in time in the front line. You need people there in the front line to handle those activities for you.
Yes, absolutely, Matthew. Actually, we are a big advocate for customer experience is not a department. Customer service is not a department. It's everybody's job. And everybody needs to be well armed to handle all kinds of customer conflict situations, challenging customer situations, situations where customers have gone awry. It's possible for everybody to be able to do that. We just need to ensure that one, everyone understands the big picture, everybody understands the importance of the customer, and is well equipped to handle challenging customer situations. So a lot of training is important. A lot of exposure is important. Like in this situation, it was not just me and this gentleman in the boardroom. We had the head of finance, we had the person in charge of credit. And so it was a sit by Nelly type of thing. They see what you do. The next time they're able to do it themselves. So that it's not just all the time you need to see the manager, you need to see the supervisor. If that's happening in your institution, then we need to call ourselves to a meeting as leaders. Because as leaders, we need to empower our teams to be able to handle things in our absence for sustainability, for risk management, for succession planning. So a lot of training, Matthew, it doesn't just come naturally. It also requires a lot of emotional centeredness, because customers can throw you off balance, and we're human beings. You can be triggered. You can be absolutely triggered by a customer. So to be able to know this is triggering me, I need to center myself. I need to know it's not personal. This customer is trying to say something, even if they're packaging it in a way that's not palatable. Inside there, the customer is trying to say something. How do I handle this irate customer, this angry customer, this suspicious customer, this rude and argumentative customer, so that when it happens, we are not guinea pigging with the customer. So we will already have developed these scenarios in-house as a team. We will have somebody show up in the team as a very chaotic customer, and we work on it internally, and we practice internally, and we make sure we are well equipped internally. So when the actual customer comes, we're not trying, we're not using the customer as an example. We will already have done it so many times. It'll come very naturally to us to handle that one. So we really need to put in the work, Matthew. We need to put in the work. We need to risk plan. Think of every chaotic scenario with a customer in advance. Play it out, role play it, practice it. Have that stuff be as chaotic as possible. And all of us from the leader to the shop floor, we practice how we're going to handle that. When the day comes, it said in the day of trouble, when the day of trouble comes, you are so ready. You're so ready. Yeah. So we need to practice, Matthew. Yeah. Yes.
But there's some customers that might still come and probably might come and then probably school you, right? Push you to the point where the manager might not be available to respond to, right? Which is more or less like a quick response process. And most times organizations do have what they call maybe like a script where customer support should actually follow, right? Do this, yes. do this, do this. But in your years of experience so far, will you say it is very effective to use scripts when speaking with a customer? Looking at today where we have AI, we have the big tech doing a whole lot of things.
Right. It's a balance. We need a hybrid. We need a balance between scripting and being able to discern the situation on the ground as is. Scripts are good because, Matthew, scripts bring order. They bring consistency. They bring repeatability. You're able to repeat that thing. You are able to have a standard way in which we do things. If we leave it in the air, then the way Carol does it and the way Matthew does it and the way who does it, and then it will be a Tower of Babel. So we need scripts, we need order, we need what we are going to say, how we are going to say it. But then we inject our personalities into these things. We inject enthusiasm into these things. We inject our passion into these things. And also to be able to discern either on a call or on a WhatsApp text or on a chat or on an email or on a phone call or whatever channel we are communicating with the customer, we need to be able to discern what is this customer's emotional need. Because I have shown up with a functional need. I need let's say it's a banking situation, my credit card has expired, and I need it renewed, and I'm making noise because possibly the turnaround time for this is not as per my expectation. So my functional need here is to get my credit card renewed. But what's my emotional need in this space? Because customers are very emotional, is that I feel unsafe. I feel insecure. I feel like I'm not myself because I don't have money in my hand right now when I need it. I'm not able to transact. I feel like my ego is not in place because if I don't have this card working, I'm not the man, I'm not the woman, I'm not the provider. There's all of these things at play. So even with that script of this is our turnaround time, this is how long it takes, we will get in touch with you, we will send you an email notification or text to tell you it is ready, it takes 3 working days, or whatever we are telling you, I need to discern what is at the back of your agitation and then tell you things that will calm that down. I understand that this is an inconvenience for you. We will do our best to ensure that we will work within the time so that you can go back to your normal life because this person is feeling disorganized. So if I tell you that, then you start to feel reassurance. You start to feel trust. You start to feel the authority that I am giving you in the space of these few days when you're feeling out of control, and so on. So we have scripts, we have order, but we need to be able to discern what's behind what the customer actually is saying by word of mouth so that we can speak into that and reassure them or give them whatever it is they need, the psychological safety, emotional safety, whatever they need from us as the provider, as the vendor, as the solution person behind that. Matthew?
Okay, so it means in your own recommendation, it means yes, it's good to have a script, but when it's time to go beyond script, you can always bend the rules.
Yes, yes. Not
Okay.
bend the values, not bend the ethos, but
Okay,
bend
bend the
the
values. Okay, bend the values.
adjust. Yes, adjust
Oh,
as
okay.
necessary and escalate as necessary and consult as necessary because it's not always one shoe fits all. And that's the trouble we are having right now, Matthew, with AI. Because when you have fed the bot, when you have put the input into the GPT that will churn out what you need in whichever channel, it is
Yeah.
not able to discern that this is Matthew and this is what he is feeling. And so I need to rework this word here. And instead of
Yeah.
greeting him and saying good morning or good afternoon or good
Yeah.
evening, because it's not good. If I tell you good morning and you're not feeling good, you will never feel good about it. In fact, you say, what's good about the morning? There's nothing good about the morning and it'll be a trigger. So AI is not able to tell, this is Matthew, he doesn't feel very well emotionally, he's in a space of agitation. And instead of saying good morning, you say a very warm welcome. We are happy to hear from you today. You see, that's very different from good morning.
Yeah.
So when you have a standard script that you put into tech, it doesn't have the wisdom, the empathy that we need in customer experience excellence. It doesn't have that. So we need to balance and we need to be able to see how to make this thing work because tech works in terms of transactions, in terms of efficiencies, in terms of being able to channel things. The AI is doing marvelously in the customer experience space. But when it comes to this other side for empathy and warmth and connection and relations and rapport, it's a struggle. So we are iterating as we go along. We are listening to the voice of the customer. If AI is not working or needs to be tweaked, then we need to tweak it. We are also looking at, what can I say now, the customer demographic. If it's Gen Xers and baby boomers, and let's just have phone calls and things that work for them. If it's Gen Zs, then they're very happy just to talk to a bot. So we need to customize for the customer at hand. Yeah, yeah.
That's that's a very good segmentation you just put out there. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Okay, but
Yeah.
now I'm still going to take you a little bit back to the customer support team because it's very important to because they are the ones who are in front of the customers. If they don't reflect very well, it's definitely they don't reflect very. If they don't perform well, they will definitely not perform well to the customers. And if the customers don't buy, there will definitely be no business at that point in time. But
Yes.
in the case where maybe a support team is not able to follow up on a particular script, right? Let's take, for instance, a scenario where a friend of mine had regarding what do you call it, an e-commerce store. So a customer requested for what do you call it? A customer made a quick response, a quick delivery saying, I need to get my product right now. And in delivering that goods to the customer, she was supposed to make the payments, right? She was supposed to make the payments for the goods she has received. It became a big deal. It became a big deal that, oh, when am I going to receive my payment? We agreed payment on delivery. You've gotten your goods. You've seen the quality of your goods, but you're supposed to send the payment back to us. What do we need to do for you to make our payment to us? It became a thing of battle, right? That we had to struggle. Oh, no, I'm going to call the police. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Like, it escalated to something else, right? So, but in that situation, what do you suggest he or she should have done to, maybe go out of such problems so that it doesn't happen next time?
Right. I think there is what was going on there in that customer conflict situation was a lack of understanding by both parties about this is the way it is going to work from the word go. And to get that customer education out and understood from the word go, that this is the way it works, this is what we are supposed to do, this is how it's going to work, and this is what we're going to do from beginning to end, and have the customer ping back and say, yes, indeed, I do understand. And so when you go to the ground and it's payment on delivery, and now you have delivered and the customer is not paying, because you will have managed them psychologically from the word go that this is exactly how we do it. Have you understood? Have you accepted the terms and conditions? This is it. If you don't manage that in advance, then you will run into a problem. And then if you have already run into the problem, because sometimes problems do come, all of these things sound nice on paper, but it's as we say here, qua ground. You are on the ground already, and now there's this customer and they are refusing to pay, and they have already received the goods and services. The question here is, what is causing the customer to not want to pay? Were they a con all along? Are they hesitant about something? Are they doubting something? Is this a suspicious customer? How do we deal with what's in the background of what that customer is actually saying? So unless they were a thief from the get-go, and there are some of those, and then now that's a whole other story and a whole legal issue. If that's not the type of customer, then what is causing that? What's behind what the customer is mouthing? What reassurance do they need? What trust do they need? This is a doubting Thomas. Maybe they need to see the hole in the hand. What's in the hole in the hand for this customer? That they will say, okay, yes, sure. Let me now send in my payment. I have understood well. So communication is everything rises and falls on the altar of communication. Right there must have been a communication gap or communication issue or something around communication. Because customers, you find, do not want to be seen as the bad guy. So if you tell the customer, we trust you, we honor you, we know you're a decent person, we know that your name is so important to you, we know that your brand, your personal brand, is one of integrity and one of delivering on time. And so we have every confidence that you will make this payment and we will make it known that it has happened and happened well. What do you think? The customer is going to say yes. The money is going to come from their pocket. But now if you make me feel like a thief, oh yeah, I will show you that I made it. I will show you. It becomes a whole ego battle and it goes down badly. So back to it, Matthew, we need to understand what's behind the customer's facade, what they're showing. Yes.
But having to journey through understanding what the customer is thinking or what the customer is seeing, it's actually a very it's a process that some customers tend to hold back on. They try to build a very serious wall on. But I want to just throw in a question that just came in, right? Talking about how to understand, how to be able to separate what do you call it, your personal self, you as a support team, from from the customer. Sometimes maybe you might call a support team to clarify on an issue, and you realize that the support team is taking this thing personal, right? Well, how do you train your support team to be emotionally intelligent enough to understand that, oh, this customer is having a particular problem in this space because of the services you're rendering, and you need to look for the best way to. He's not coming after you, who is speaking with him, but he needs his problem to be solved. So how do you train the support team to understand that that's part of, oh, this customer is not coming for you, but for just to solve that problem?
Yes, you've spoken very well already, Matthew. It's all in training. and to have the team know and understand it is going to happen. It's not if, it's when. It is going to happen. We are going to encounter chaotic, crazy customers. We are going to encounter customers who will abuse you. We are going to encounter customers who will push you to the wall and try to trigger you so that then you erupt and then now they use that against you. We will encounter customers who are having issues. You know, they are so tired of what's going on in their lives that they have come to displace it on you. It's going to happen. So we need to scenario plan. We need to risk plan. We need to have the team armed and know that this is actually going to happen. So that when it's happening, they are registering in their mind, all right, I am dealing with an irate customer. All right, I'm dealing with a psychopath here. All right, I am dealing with somebody who has other issues and has come now to dump them on me. So knowledge is power, and acting on the knowledge is absolute power. So we will not throw our teams into the battlefield unarmed. We must go with sword and spear and shield and every other armor to the battlefield. So it must be done prior. And like we said, we will create these chaotic scenarios so that the team is already ready before it actually happens to them. That is one. Two, it is important for us, the team members, the customer support team, or anybody who's dealing with customers, to know ourselves. I need to know myself as Carol. I need to know when I am actually getting to a point where I feel like bile is rising, because we are human beings, we are not robots, and customers can actually trigger us. Enough for me to say, all right, I am getting triggered by this. I can feel like I am getting annoyed. I need some breathing space from this. Let me call a close to this conversation. If the customer is talking to us and I'm feeling like I'm getting angry and I could say something wrong, I need to put a pause there cleverly and tell the customer, what you're saying, Customer Matthew, is very important. I need a minute here just to consult with the high-level officials in this organization. I will get back to you just now. I'll call you in 2 minutes. And then you put it off so that you can breathe. And then you go breathe. And you tell your colleagues, oh God, I'm going to kill this customer. And you take a moment. And then you come back. Or if it's physical, you then take a moment to go and breathe a little bit and come back. Because it is very possible, Matthew, for you to beat a customer. It's possible. It's very possible. And then by the time it's a crime of passion, you're in a mess. And so we need to know and understand ourselves first. We need to equip ourselves emotionally to be able to deal with all of this that's happening. We need to continuously fill our cup, because people who deal with customers, I keep saying, they need a hardship allowance. It is very difficult to constantly be on the front line. If an IT system has gone down, for example, so the IT team is working on it in the background. But who is getting the flack? Who are people quarreling? Who are people, upset with? Who are people? It's you. And you're taking the whole burden of the entire organization. Oh, you need care. So anyone who's front facing, we need to continuously refill our cups. We need care. We need to go and debrief. We need mental wellness. We need to be able to share how we are feeling. We need to take a break when we need to take a break, and so on and so forth, so that we can deal effectively with all of these customer issues. That is very important. Yeah.
Right. Thank you very much, Carol, for that in-depth knowledge. And to everybody who's listening, please, and now with the manager specifically, we'll soon be launching a new magazine, right? Because like I shared on my post sometime last week, that we're taking this very seriously. We're taking this to the next level. We are intentionally improving on what we are doing. We really want to share the best information. So as much as you're also connecting with us, we have a link to to join our magazine wait list. And so if you'll be keen to also be a part of that and also get the best information at every point in time when we launch on that magazine, do also click the link in the comments box. And also we have a community, a managers chat room community on Slack channel. So please, while you're joining this very discussion today, click the link in the comments box, and so you can also push further this conversation. I'd love to also hear some some engagements or some questions from the community when you get to join us on that. So thank you very much, everybody, who is staying tuned with us, and continue to share the link. We are not done yet. We still have 15 minutes before the end of this discussion, and I also love to hear your questions and your suggestion. So I have a question here from an audience, right? Who is talking about? Who said here? Okay, so I saw a video that I saw a video that angry customers are good for business. Do you agree to that, and why is that?
Yes, 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 Matthew, I agree. I agree 100%. Because what happens in customer experience excellence, we say that at every touch point, there's a moment of truth. And these
Okay.
moments of truth have three M's. It's either misery, or it's meh, it's there, or it's magic.
Okay.
So we want either misery or magic. What we don't want is these passives in the middle here. In fact, in one of the customer experience measurement metrics, the Net Promoter Score talks about promoters, detractors, and passives. So in customer experience excellence, we say that the passives, or those meh, the people with the meh, MEH response, those are the worst. They're the worst. We don't want that. You'd rather have a customer who's very angry because they will talk. When the customer is angry, they will tell you, I am so disappointed in this. I am angry at this. Or you people are useless. You don't work. This has gone wrong. In fact, I'm leaving. I'm going to this person. I'm going to that. You should close shop. But they will tell you so many things that if you remove the manner, the packaging, maybe the packaging is not great, but what is inside of the package is great. Because that customer will tell you things. They'll tell you how they're feeling. They'll tell you about the product. They'll tell you about the service. They'll tell you about the people. They'll tell you about the process. They'll tell you everything. And in there, we will be able to discern, is this perceived or is this real? And whether it's perceived or real is the customer's truth. So we take all that feedback and say, why is this customer perceiving this even if it's not real? Is it the communication that's not all right? Is there something we need to reject? Is there something in there that has caused this customer to feel this way? If it is really real, then that's even better because we can understand we designed it this way, but it's not working. This is how it's landing on the customer side. So angry customers are good. They are beautiful for business. We love them. We want them to tell us things. We want them to share with us things. And then once we have picked that from the customer, we can then do something. What we don't want is the same customer angry twice. Now that's bad for business. If I'm angry today, I should not be angry tomorrow. I should be angry today. I handle you with your anger, and then you come back and say, this is wow. I can see my feedback went somewhere. Thank you for taking it into consideration. And customers love it when they tell you things and you go and do something about it. They feel like a partner in the business. They feel like they have contributed significantly to this success. So yes, let's bring them on. Bring on. We should never be afraid of angry customers.
Okay. So if you're an angry customer, please reach out to Carolina, and then share all your complaints, and I'm sure she'll definitely respond to you. But we're having a very, very very energetic comment session. Thank you, Wilson Lawrence. Kudos to joining us today. Wilson, thank you very much. Happiness Udo, good to have you. Unwana Akpabio. Unwana is actually a social media manager. She's been doing a lot of stuff for us here online. Good to engage in the discussion. Okay, so one more question, please, from our audience here. That's in my DM. So he's saying, how should business create a culture that prioritizes customer experience from top-down level?
Yes. That's a beautiful question, Matthew. Culture starts at the top. We can go nowhere, absolutely nowhere with the culture of an institution if it is not embedded from the top. It is the leaders, the vision carriers, the vision bearers, those who lead the institution at whatever level that bring in the weather. The leaders bring in the weather. And so if we want a culture of customer experience excellence, then those leading the institution must be very deliberate, one, to communicate it, and two, to live it, to act it. I cannot be telling you to be gracious to our customers, and I'm not gracious to you, because the first customer is us. We the staff, are customer 001. We are the first customers. So we must be gracious to each other. We must handle each other well. We must listen to each other. We must take feedback. We must handle conflict in a manner that causes a decent way of operating. We must be able to bring comfort to each other in the spaces that we are in. And on and on and on, the things we preach that we want to do to customers, we must start with the internal customer. And the leaders must start with that. If we are saying that customers are important, because every business says that, oh, our customers are important to us, it's on every charter, every mission, every wall, it's everywhere. It's
And
in
they're doing
government, it's
nothing.
everywhere, everywhere.
And they're
Yeah,
doing the opposite.
for sure. So if we are saying that our customers are important to us, we
Yeah.
are the first customers. So we, the employees, are important to this business. And so we must be handled in a manner that is important for us to then have this culture and natural thing. Because if we are kind to each other, Matthew, if you and I are kind to each other, by extension, we'll be kind to everybody else. Charity begins at home. Everything begins from the inside out. And so, yes, if we want a culture of customer experience excellence, it must start with the way we are handling internal customers, and then it will then cascade to every other customer. And then also the leadership must show concern for the customers. If an external customer has brought feedback and we're saying that here we want a culture of listening, a culture of adapting to change, a culture of being able to implement customer suggestions, we should then put the budget for that. We should then approve initiatives that delight the customer. So we shouldn't just be saying by word of mouth. Culture is in action. It's not in saying, culture is in doing. And when we do things repeatedly, we become. And so we need to do that repeatedly and then become, because culture is action. It's our everyday, it's our norm. Cultures are norms. Cultures are norms. And so therefore, it needs to be bred from the top, and then it will permeate to everybody else. Yes.
Thank you very much. That's a very good one.
Yeah.
But in all of this process, right? I want you to share with us, how is Life Skill Consulting Limited also sharing and expanding this voice of uniqueness in customers, to also educate organizations that, oh, this is the best way you can actually use, maybe not like the best standard, because there's actually no best standard, right? Everybody has a best standard, but if you use this process and if you implement this process, you're definitely going to have a very good, what do you call it, service delivery in all you're doing. So how is Life
Yeah.
Skill Consulting, impacting that?
Yes, we're very big on training. We are very big on training because when you pass on knowledge, it grows. If you keep knowledge to yourself, then you go to the grave with it. So we are very big on knowledge transfer. So we do lots of training. We do lots of awareness creation activities. We are always mentoring, always looking for people in this space of customer experience excellence to transfer knowledge to them, to listen to them, to be able to help with models, with tools, with blueprints, with wisdom, with anything that you might need to empower you to be able to deal with your internal and external customers. So in the space of consulting, of training, of speaking, recently we have started up a WhatsApp forum that has all kinds of people in it, business people, people in the customer experience space, whoever has a question. So every Monday people type in questions and we really respond to any and every kind of question. And people are empowered to go and try these things and to understand and to see, oh, I am not alone struggling with this thing. Because we have a great belief that if you share, it grows. Really, Matthew, if you like what you're doing here, when you're sharing this knowledge on how to handle organizations, how to handle people, how to be able to transform businesses and organizations worldwide, it grows. It absolutely grows. So we're having a brilliant conversation, just like many you have had before. And we're sharing knowledge and wisdom and advisory and guidance. And so it grows. And when the world grows, we grow. You're growing. I'm growing. We're growing. It's just win-win for everybody. So that's our belief, that's our ethos, and we are happy to transform this continent, transform the world, one person at a time, one advisory piece at a time. Matthew?
Thank you very much for that. And to everybody who's listening, if you want to follow up on this discussion, sometime early this year, we had a discussion with Michael Brandt on emotional intelligence. Michael Brandt and Shelley, right? We had a very wonderful discussion there on emotional intelligence, on how to, be emotional intelligence to manage and, follow up with your customers. And so you can also follow up on that to get the best knowledge out of it. But I want to take us a little bit out of the conversation of customer, right? I just want to, you're actually not an HR person, but I know you've worked with people. which I know this is something you'll be able to probably give advice to, right? So I got from one of our audience feedback, right? Okay, so I got feedback. So she shared with me that how do you handle that period of being fired? Maybe for example, something happened in your career or at your office, but you got fired. How do you handle that? How do you handle that process? How do you handle that period? Because I feel this is something beyond just only she. If she has a problem like that, I mean, I believe that there's someone else who also have that kind of problem. Like myself, I had a problem with learning management, and here I am on the screen, having to also speak with you. And I think over time, I'm also able to learn that for myself. But so far you've been working with people, how do you think employees handle fire, like when they're being fired? How do you think that whole process gets on them? What do you think they do afterwards? How does that whole process shape their personal career or
Yes,
personal development? Maybe you've
yes,
seen something
yes,
like that.
yes. Indeed, indeed. And we always mentor and say that being fired is a very traumatic experience. Whether we like it or we don't, that's the truth. It's a very traumatizing thing to be cut off, to be rejected. Rejection is very hard, and this is rejection at its utmost. And many times it happens in the public sphere. So it comes with a lot of stigma, it comes with a lot of shame, it comes with, you bearing down on the person of you. And so we tell anybody who has been fired, one, to go and reflect and to ask, what was my part in this process? What did I contribute to this mess? Where am I taking responsibility for this outcome? And we're not talking about the manner in which it was done, because that's out of your control. It's out
Yeah.
of your control. You can't determine how you are going to be fired. That's somebody else's domain.
Or when you're going to be fired.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we need to reflect and own. If you take ownership of something, and then it stops to have power over you. If I say here, indeed I messed, I didn't communicate properly, or I aligned myself with the wrong people, or I messed up in this way, this thing had me go out of integrity where I shouldn't have, or I never saw it coming and I should have, because sometimes you can see it coming and you didn't, and then it shocks you. So whatever you want to take responsibility for, do it. It totally disempowers the oppression of being fired over you. Secondly, no one can ever take away from you your skills, your competence, your values, what you stand for, what you're able to bring to the table, and the person of you. An employer can never rob you of that. So your identity should not be with that employer who fired you. And so now you feel like it's the end of the road. You become a useless being. You have no reason for living. Sometimes you even want to delete yourself from the face of this earth. No, that's handing over your power to somebody else, and yet your power lies within you. So no one can rob you of that. So we say, okay, fine, go ahead and feel bad, because it's your human being. Feel bad, cry if you have to cry. Go and drink a whole bottle of wine if that's what you need to do. Go and eat a bucket of potatoes. You know, potatoes are comfort
So
food.
you
Go
feel
and eat a
tired.
whole bucket. Yeah, yeah. Eat ice cream and then pick up from there and say, this is the lesson I am learning. This is what I'm picking up from here. And we also preach that you must be very honest, because in your next interview, sometimes we sit on a lot of interviews. Some people are trying to hide this thing that they were fired, and it shows. If you're hiding something, if you lack integrity, if you're not speaking up, if you're trying to be evasive, it shows. Just go ahead and say, I was released from my previous employer. This is exactly what happened. This was my part I played. Remember, you've processed it. Eh? This is the part I played. This is the regret I have. This is the lesson I have learned, and it will never happen again. That interview panel will listen to you. They will listen to you. They will say, this is somebody who has fallen, gotten a second chance, picked themselves up. What you see is what you get. They have high integrity and they're honest in their communication. Let's take this person. So all of this trying to hide under the table and do all of these things is a no. Firing will happen. We pray it doesn't happen in your lifetime, but if it does, failure is not fatal. Your identity is not stuck to the employer who fired you. That does not define who you are. Pick your lessons, speak to people, get coaching, get mentorship, pick up your life and rise again. You can and you will rise again. Yes.
Thank you for sharing that. And I'm hoping that she's listening to this because that was a very pressing issue. And even though I had to speak at my own point, I just needed us to, also share it to every other person who probably have or who shares such experience, right? Because I know how,
Yeah.
I understand how crazy that can be, right? It might take a ton of you, and it might probably take months for you to get back up if you're not careful or if you're not fast enough to understand yourself. But thank you for breaking that down on how we should walk out of firing. And thank you
Yes.
so much for the past 1 hour. This has been a very detailed discussion,
Mm,
right? And if I should give
yeah.
room for that, we'll be having more and more questions, because customer complaints, to handle customer complaints is a never-ending journey, right? But
Yes.
but
Yes.
we're just going to take in two last questions, just two questions from the audience, right? And one of
Okay.
that is, what innovation should we look forward to in 2024 and the year to come, right? Looking at AI, what are those innovations we should be looking out for? And how is AI going to shape the experience of customers? Like you had already mentioned, but just to expand on
Yes.
that.
Yes. 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 What we're looking forward to is humanizing AI. Right now, when we look at AI for customer experience excellence, it's largely driven by tech. In fact, we always say that the techies and the customer experience people should be married. It should be a match made in heaven. They should
Yeah.
walk down the aisle and happily live forever, ever together. And they should not part from each other, so that as we design AI solutions, we are listening to the voice of the customer. We are embedding all the customer experience tenets into the blueprint, into the framework of the tech solutions that are coming, so that these are not two different things. And so we are
Yeah.
looking at it being more human, as humanizing it, as auditing it. It's not cast in stone. We put it out to the customers. If they don't like it, we come back and we rejig, we re-engineer, we reinvent. And so they're seeing a very exciting journey of a lot of innovation, a lot of changes, a lot. We should not get tired that we have built this thing and now we are going to rebuild it again. We shouldn't get tired. And so we are seeing that happening. We are also seeing that we will have, joint activities. There will be AI running, but there will also be other things that are human faced running in the background, because it can't work on its own, and we need to walk this journey together. So that's what we are looking forward to IT solutions, to AI solutions, to people who are to developers sitting in the CX team, or the CX team sitting in the development team. These two should always be together. That's what we are seeing coming in this upcoming season. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. And lastly, just to sign out on this discussion today, this is directly from all of us in the team, and to you. So this is us saying, what is that thing that makes you? What's that thing that makes you feel motivated and feel very unique in all that you do so far?
Oh, I tell you, I know. Yeah, you can see how.
I didn't expect that.
Yeah, no, I'm just processing how what gives me joy, what drives me is seeing
Okay.
people thriving. If people are thriving in the thing that they were created and designed for, that's me, that's my passion. That is what I live for. I live to see people being, who they really understanding who they are and living inside of that and being authentic about it. And this ties well with customer experience, because then it causes us to serve in a way that brings that out of people. Because when you handle people, you handle citizens, you handle people in a manner that causes them to be authentically them, then that is life. That's freedom. Is freedom. So that's what gives me joy. That's what keeps me going. That's what fires me up. And that is why I am here and I do the things I do. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And lastly, what's one thing we should all leave this conversation today with?
We should tell ourselves that I am important, you are important, and we are important. That's it. That's the mantra. I am important, like very important. You are important, and we collectively are very important. If we keep that in our mind, we will handle everybody and everything with the importance that it deserves, with the importance that they deserve. If we just keep that going, just take only that everybody I come in touch with, anybody who crosses my path, anybody I interact with today and forevermore, they are very important. Very. That's it. The rest will
Thank
follow.
you. Yeah. And we'll
Yeah.
continue to prioritize making everybody feel important. And that is why we always like to make sure that our guest feels the best value when he or she comes on board. And also our listeners also get the best value. And we know that we are not building this just for ourselves. Like I said before, this was a passion project, or it started as a passion project. But right now, we're seeing how to take this to another level. But we cannot do that alone. Like our guests have talked about here, we can't do that alone. You, our audience, you, our
Right.
listeners, who also drive that. Your feedback, your follow up, your contributions, your suggestions, your engagement is what keeps us
Mm,
motivated. Is what keeps the team motivated. Like this week, I think
mm,
I've had calls with like 3 or 4 of our listeners who have shared their own personal journey, right? Shared their own personal experience in what they've been able to
mm,
gather so far from following up on our
mm,
discussions, and how
mm,
effective it has been to them. So while you click on the button to listen to an hour with your money, generally, always make sure that you're coming to learn something. It might not be for you, it might be for the next person, it might be for your boss, it might be for your organization, but make sure you
mhm,
always share, and share the link across, and continue to follow us. We have a community. Click the link to also
mhm,
join. We have our social media channels. We have our YouTube. Always subscribe, and let's continue to connect. And if you for any reason have further questions about this discussion today, you can as well come into
mhm.
my DM or probably connect with Caroline on LinkedIn, and she'll be
Yes,
available to respond to you at any point in time. So please, and
yes.
let's continue to drive the discussions on handling our customers' complaints. It's never an
Mm,
easy thing, but definitely we'll see how to drive it to success. So thank you very much,
mm.
everybody, for the time.
Right.
And I hope you
Yes.
all enjoyed and had the best value today. I'll see you guys next week, Wednesday. Thank you very much, our guest, Caroline, for the time.
Yes.
I really appreciate it.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah.